Good afternoon to my children, and we are going to study about the concept of chemistry. Before we are going to study about that chemistry, just I want to give some safe measurements for you. You are in this holiday and also you are staying in home. You please want to save. The life is very essential for the human being. So without the life, we cannot achieve anything. But even though just we teachers of Vidya Mandir have greater affinity with the students, and that's why we teachers are coming to just teach the lessons through the medias. So you please have to utilize very properly, and just you want to follow this, what is the lesson which we are teaching for you and every day, and you have to take more care about that your future also. Just you don't go anywhere, and you have to stay in your home, and you have to study about that lessons and what is the teaching aids which we are giving to you. You please practice more, and this is the time you have to utilize in fine way. And you please come back to that school, and you are going to come back to the school, and we are going to concentrate more about your studies. You don't worry, just you please follow that things what we are giving in daily attitudes. Thank you. Dear children, we are going to study about the 10th syllabus, 9th chapter, solutions lesson. First of all, you should know about what is solution. Solution is nothing but it is a two component which containing two components, namely solute and solvent. Solution is nothing but which is to be composite of, which is to be containing. There are two components, namely solute and solvent. Solute is nothing but it is to be present in lesser quantity, and solvent is nothing but it is a liquid substance or liquid or solid, any states of matter or gaseous, any states of matter, it should be in larger in quantities or more in amount. More in amount. Here liquids or solids or gaseous, anything will be behave as a solvent, but and specially we are going to study about there is that solvent, the best solvent, the best solvent, the best solvent like water. It is a universal solvent. It is the universal solvent. First of all, you should know about what is called solution. Solution is nothing but it is a components of two. That is a components of two, namely solute and solvents. And here it is present in lesser quantity. Here it is present in larger the quantity or more in amount. And here that solvent to be in the form of liquids, solid or gases. Next we are going to study about the introduction is nothing but just you should know, and we have studied in our lower classes 6th and 7th and 8th level, you know what is that mixtures. You know what is mixture. Mixture is nothing but it is containing two or more substances, which is containing two or more substances. Two or more substances and one or more physical state, one or more physical state, one or more physical state. You know what is physical state? You know what is physical state? The physical state is nothing but there you can see there are the three states of matter. One is solid, liquid and gaseous. So the mixtures to be, we cannot say the solid substances only, solid only not to be a mixtures. Mixtures are, we can say, in many in kinds. For example, just the mixtures we can able to, the mixtures which can be separated in some cases, and cannot be separated in some cases. Example, we can take salt and water. Next one, sand in water. Sand in water. Sand and water. Salt in water or salt and water, sand in water or sand and water. These two are the mixtures, and these two are the mixtures. Now we can, the salt and water cannot be separated. Cannot be separated. And sand and water can be separated. By using filtration method. By using filtration methods, how it is possible? Now you take, there is that salt and water. What happened here? The salt is completely dissolved. The salt is completely dissolved. In water. This is homogeneous in nature. In nature, we cannot find out, there is a particles of, we cannot find out particles of salt in water. This we can see, there is a uniform in its solutions. Uniform. But here we can't find such a uniformity. Here we can't find such a uniformity that there is a sand particles are not dissolving. Sand particles are not dissolving. It should be appeared as such as. Now we can able to separate it by using filtration methods. But here in this case we cannot find such a particle, we cannot separate it out. So now in solutions, that is to be in two kinds, namely we can say the solutions are in two in categories and two in kinds. One is called homogeneous solutions. Another one is called heterogeneous solutions. Heterogeneous solutions. This is a point you should understand. What is homogeneous solutions and what is heterogeneous solutions? Now, homogeneous solutions are the solutions which are having that solute and solvent to be present inside the solution is uniformly, the solute molecules are distributing entire the solutions. But here the solute molecules are not uniformly distributing into these solutions. There is a cluster, there is a muddy, there is a turbidity which are present in these solutions. If there is a cluster, there is a muddy solutions, or there is a clay, there are any particles which are present it is not to be uniformly distributed in the solutions are known as, that is, heterogeneous solutions. That is heterogeneous solutions. Now you know that what is called homogeneous solution, and now you are very clear about this, what is called heterogeneous solutions. Next we are going to study about, and what is that a purpose of your studying about these solutions lesson. What is the learning aspect which are present in this solution lesson? Just what is that, what is the essentiality of our day-to-day life about this solution lesson? Just you should know about what is that concept. Here we are going to see solutions in day-to-day life. That means what is the applications and what is the use of this study about that solutions in our life. Here there is a sea water, you take for example. Sea water is a solution. Sea water is a mixture of many salts, but sea water is the essential for human life. Essential for all the life existing or existence. So without rain, without water, no life. So the sea water is essential for that whole life existence. Why? Because, and here that it is the reason for, it is the major sources for this rain, and here because of the rain only there should be that life existing in that earth crust. This is a concept you should understand, and what is the importance of the solutions. The atmospheric air is the mixture of, the atmospheric air is the mixture of all kinds of the gases. All kinds of the gases. Example, all kinds of the gases like nitrogen, oxygen, hydrogen. Apart from that, you know, this should be in 78%. You know, this should be in 21.8%. You know that hydrogen. And here you know that carbon dioxide. Here you know that carbon monoxide. And also here you know that water vapors. All are present in atmosphere. Nitrogen, oxygen, hydrogen, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, not carbon monoxide. This is a point, carbon monoxide, and this nitrogen is the major components and major percentage which are present in this atmosphere. So this is that nitrogen is only is life based gas, and oxygen is essential for that human cell. So these are all the gases is very important, but these are all present in atmosphere as in the form of solutions. That is air solution, as in the form of solutions. That is as in the form of solutions. The mixture of all kinds of gases like nitrogen, oxygen, hydrogen, carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, and here it is all to be present in atmosphere. These all to be called as, we can say, air solution that are present in atmosphere, which are essential for that human life. So this is that all life is based on only these atmospheric gases what are present in this atmosphere. Nutrients present in the soil is also in the form of solutions. the nutrients to be present in the form of solutions. These nutrients which are present, nutrients present in the soil to be absorbed by the roots of plant to have to grow. This is a fundamental things which we are going to study about the solutions lessons. The nutrients which are absorbed from the soil to how to grow. This is to be, the nutrients are to be present in the form of solutions. That is why the root which can able to observe that what are the nutrients which are present inside the soil that can be observed for the growth of the plants. So these to be the concept which is present in this solution lesson. So here, and what is the essential things we want to be learn, and what is the applications we want to learn to study about these solutions. And here these are all that applications which is essential to have to study about this solution lesson. The next, the use of the solutions which we are going to see here. The human body also to be the solutions. What are the solutions which is present in human body? Blood, lymph, urine, or in the form of solutions. This is the essential thing for that human body, which is that essential for that function of the human body. And here these all present in human body in the form of solutions. So it is also very essential for that human functioning. So we have to study about this solution lesson. Next to the concept, what we are going to see, our day to day life. What are that? The washing and cooking and all attitudes, all that we are preparing this food, all to be in the form of solutions. And here, that is preparing food materials all to be in the form of solutions. Apart from that, we are preparing that drinks, like there is beverages and soft drinks and fruit juice, all to be in the form of solutions. All to be in the form of solutions. So these solutions to be the soft drinks and fruit juice are very important for our day-to-day life, and also essential for our, it is a nutrients for the human body. So all to be in the form of solutions that intestine is very easily assimilated, that all the nutrients what are present in solutions are easily assimilated by our intestine to convert it as energy and as well as nutrients to our human body. So that all to be present only in these solutions. So we have to study about the solutions to how to study about the solutions to understand this lesson. And here next we are going to see what is the concept, what is given in syllabus. The given syllabus is, and just it is to be the components of solutions. Components of solutions. We know that the solutions are classified into two types, that is homogeneous, that already I have given, homogeneous and heterogeneous. Homogeneous and heterogeneous. And here the solutions which are containing two components, you know that solute and solvent. The solute is lesser in proportions and solvent is more in amount. This is a point. Now here that you know that homogeneous is a uniform solutions, but it is containing two components, that is to be heterogeneous nothing but it is a different components are present, different components. We can predict what is present inside. Here we cannot predict what is present inside, whereas we can taste the solutions. Suppose B, taste the solutions. If it is salty taste, salt taste, we can understand, or it is to be sugar taste, we can understand. But here on seeing that our naked eye we can find, and here it is to be the substance which is present in the solutions, we can see apparently, but here we cannot see apparently. There is a major differences between homogeneous and heterogeneous. And what is present in the solutions, you know that solute and solvent. Solute to be present in lesser the proportions and solvent to be present in the more in amount in solutions. This is the components of solutions. Next we are going to study about, and here two components. Two components are present in solution. Two components are present in solution, that is binary solutions. Example you take now, this is nothing but we can say salt, just it is to be dissolved into water. It is to be dissolved into water. Just we have to pour this substance into this water. Now you will get yes sugar solution or salt solution. Accordingly, just you are dissolving. Now you are getting here. This is salt solution. So what are the components which are present? Here the water and the salt, which are two components are present. This is called binary solutions. Two components are present which are called as binary solutions. Ternary solutions are containing ternary solutions. Ternary solutions are nothing but and three more components are present in the solution is called ternary solutions. Ternary solutions. Example we can take, there is sugar plus coffee powder and water. You will get the solution of, there is coffee. This is coffee solutions. So what are present here? Water is present, coffee powder is present, sugar is present. So three components are present. So that's why we call it as ternary solutions. That is called, we can say, ternary solutions. That is why we call it as ternary solutions. So according to the physical state of the solute and solvent, according to the physical state of solute and solvent, the solutions further classified into solutions are classified into three kinds. Namely, solid solutions, and liquid solutions, and gaseous solutions. Solid solutions are nothing but a solid substance or solid solute. And solvent. Now you take it here. Solute and solvent. Here, the solid form of solute and solid form of solvent, which gives alloys. Alloys are the major science you are studying about this concept of alloys. Even a steel or gold or everything is only that alloys it is made up of. Alloy is nothing but it is all solid metals to be mixed with that solid metals, which is giving the solution is known as alloys. Even a jewelries and gold, everything is to be, we can say it is an alloy. Now you see, copper is a solute, gold is a solvent. Why here we can say gold is a solvent? The concept what we have studied, the solvent to be more in amount and solute to be lesser in amount. Now the copper dissolves in gold, now which gives alloys. The next concept you see here, the solute is liquid. There is mercury, liquid, and solvent is sodium, that is solid. Now which gives a amalgam. This is amalgamation, you know that it is very essential, and here it is used in dental field, dental cavities, and where there is a hole which is present in, there is a teeth that should be filling by using this amalgam. This process is known as amalgamations. You know, this is also to be solutions form. Next we are going to study about liquid solutions. The liquid solutions, first you should know about solid. There is also, you can write solute and solvent. That solute is to be in the form of solid and solvent to be in the form of liquid. And here again there should be the solute to be in the form of liquid and solvent also to be in the form of liquid, solute to be in the form of gas, and solvent to be in the form of liquid, if supposedly to take now. So solid type of the solute which is mixed into the, there is a liquid that may be water. Now we are giving, there is a salt solution. And here the liquid in liquid is nothing but, there is alcohol and water. And the gas which are present in liquid, in these cases there should be aerated water, you know that. Aerated water. That only we can study it as soft drinks. This is called soft drinks, aerated waters. Next, the solutions which are called as gaseous solutions. Gaseous solutions which also containing solute and solvent. Finally, which gives solution. I can take a liquid solute and a gaseous solvent which produces a cloud. Cloud is essential for the rain, you know. And here gaseous solute and gaseous solvent, and which two are called, we can say, helium also to be in the form of gas, oxygen also to be in the form of gas. These two gas is known as solutions, and this is otherwise known as mixture of helium and oxygen, which is used in the deep sea divers. That means which we can want to go for the very deep into the sea, just it is we can use for that. And the gas which is used for these deep sea divers, it is very important gas. And here the gaseous solutions also to be important, and liquid solutions also to be important, and solid solutions also to be important. The solid solutions, what is the examination point of view? You should learn the point. Solids are called alloys, and liquid solids are called amalgams. And here liquid solutions, we can see the solute and solvent. Finally what we are getting, the solution, salt solution, alcohol solution, and aerated waters. These are all to be that in the form of liquid solutions. And here the gaseous solutions are nothing but the cloud and the helium oxygen mixture is to be that call it as a gaseous solutions. The next concept which we are going to complete in these solutions based on the solvent. The solutions are classified into solutions or further classified into two types. Based on the solvent. Based on solvent. This is aqueous solutions, aqueous and non-aqueous solutions. Aqueous solutions and non-aqueous solutions. The aqueous solutions, the water to be the solvent. Water to be the solvent. For example, there is copper sulfate. How to dissolve into water, you will get the solution. Sugar plus water, you will get the solution. What is called sugar solution. And then sodium chloride, salt, that is NaCl plus water, you will get the solution, that is salt solution. These are all call it as these are all the compounds. This is the compounds, and this is the compounds are called ionic compounds. Ionic compounds. These ionic compounds can dissolve into water. So the substance which is to be dissolved into water is called aqueous solutions, and here the water is aqueous, is nothing but aquafina. The aquafina is the word which is to be derived from Latin. Aqueous is water, and here the water is universal solvent. Non-aqueous solutions, the solutions to be prepared other than the water as a solvent. The solvent like benzene and carbon tetrachloride, chloroform, carbon disulfide, and acetone. These are all called organic solvent. Solvent like benzene, carbon tetrachloride, chloroform, carbon disulfide, and acetone are called organic solvents. Water is inorganic solvent. Inorganic solvent. So this solvent can dissolve many covalent compounds. Many covalent compounds like oils and fat, and here and sulfur. This all can be dissolved into carbon disulfide. Is dissolves sulfur can gives a solutions, and carbon disulfide can dissolve fat, which gives solutions. And here there is benzene can dissolve fat, which gives solutions. So these solutions are called non-aqueous solutions. Non-aqueous solutions. If these all, or there is organic solvent. Now this to be taken as a solvent to dissolve sodium chloride. This is organic. The solvent is organic. The substance is inorganic. And here no solubility will occur. Why? Because here it is inorganic, it is organic, no solubility, so it is not forming solutions. It cannot form solutions. Which cannot form solutions. Whereas here, the same thing you can take it here, there is to be which cannot form solutions. This is the classifications which we can give. There is an aqueous solutions and a non-aqueous solutions. This is a point you should learn very properly. What are called as aqueous solutions and what are called as non-aqueous solutions. The aqueous solution is the water is the major solvent, whereas in non-aqueous solutions, and here the benzene, carbon disulfide, chloroform, carbon tetrachloride, acetone, all to be that the best solvent for the organic substances which can dissolve and which give yes solutions. This is non-aqueous solutions. The next further classifications based on the amount of solute to be present in solutions. This is saturated solutions. And unsaturated solutions. Unsaturated solutions and supersaturated solutions. Supersaturated solutions. See, saturated solution is nothing but a solution in which no more solute to be added, to be dissolved into the solution is called saturated solutions. Example, solubility of NaCl in 100 grams of water is 36 gram at 25 degrees Celsius. This is called saturated solution. Saturated solution. You see, 36 gram of sodium chloride is dissolved in 100 grams of solvent. Water is nothing but solvent. Now, what is unsaturated? You take now. This is saturated. No more solute can be added to be that solutions is called saturated. What is unsaturated? Unsaturated is nothing but the less amount of solute to be present in the solution is called unsaturated solution. Example, there is 10 gram of NaCl dissolved into 100 grams of water. This is unsaturated. 10 grams or 20 grams of NaCl present in 100 grams of water. That's all. This is unsaturated. It is not to be more amount of solute which is present rather than that of there is saturated amount. Now it is called unsaturated solutions. What is called supersaturated solution? The supersaturated solution is nothing but here more than there is a more solute to be added into the solvent to give solution is called supersaturated solutions. Supersaturated solutions. Example, there is 40 gram of NaCl to be dissolved into 100 grams of water to give the solution, or else and 50 gram of more than 36, that is nothing but more than 36 gram of NaCl, more than 36 gram of NaCl. 50 gram of NaCl is dissolved into 100 grams of water to give supersaturated solutions. Now, after this formation of supersaturated solutions, and here the solution which forms crystals after some time that it forms crystals to be remain as in this form of solid substances in these solutions is called supersaturated solutions. You know that what is unsaturated? Unsaturated is nothing but less amount of solute to be added to the solutions, and here it is nothing but for the saturation 36 gram of sodium chloride is essential, but here 10 gram of sodium chloride and 20 gram of sodium chloride to be added. That is to be called as, we can say, unsaturated solutions. Here the point which we are going to see, the next concept is, there is based on this, there is a amount of solute. Again there is a further classifications which we are going to see, and based on this solute which is present in these solutions, and here diluted solution and a concentrated solutions, and here the further classified into diluted solution and a concentrated solutions. What is diluted solutions? The solutions Furthermore, we have the classifications based on the solute which is present in the solutions. Example, we can write there is that solutions further classified into solutions. Again, it is classified into two types based on again the solute in solution, based on solute in solutions. There is concentrated solution, and diluted solutions. Concentrated solution and dilute solutions. Here, the more amount of solute to be dissolved in the solvent to give the such concentrated solutions. Concentrated solutions. Here, lesser amount of solute to be dissolved into the solvent, is called dilute solutions. Is called dilute solutions. There is that pictorial explanation, that is depictious, and how we can explain based on this solute and solvents. Now we take the simple conical flask. There is that, you see, this is solute. This is solute. This is solvent. So here the solute, here it is a solvent. The solute which is to be present in the solution is more solute to be present in the solutions. Now I am giving this next picture. See here the solute. It is very minimum number of solute. Very minimum number of solute. The very minimum number of, very less number of solute to be present in dilute solutions. So now this is based on number of particles of solute. One to be called as concentrated solution, another to be called as diluted solutions. One to be called as concentrated solution, another to be called as diluted solutions. Now the concentrated solutions which are containing more amount of solute. Now the diluted solutions which are containing less amount of solute particle which is present in the solution is called as concentrated solutions and as well as diluted solutions. This is a point you should understand. Next we are going to see solubility. Solubility is defined as the number of grams of solute that can be dissolved in the given amount of solvent, given amount of solvent is known as solubility. Here, for example, 36 gram of NaCl dissolved into 100 grams of water. This is capacity of the sodium chloride. 36 gram of sodium chloride only can dissolve into 100 grams of water. This is the ability of that sodium chloride which can dissolve into water. The next example, solubility defined as the number of grams of solute that can be dissolved in the given amount. That means 100 grams of solvent is known as solubility. For example, 36 grams of sodium chloride dissolved in the 100 grams of water, 48 grams of ammonia can dissolve into the 100 grams of water, 80 grams of sodium hydroxide can dissolve into the 100 grams of water, 91 grams of glucose CzH12O6 dissolved into the 100 grams of water, 95 grams of sodium bromide dissolved into the 100 grams of water, and 180 grams of sodium iodide dissolved into the 100 grams of water. This is that solubility of these all substances in this given amount of the solvent is defined as solubility. The solubility we can calculate. How? Just we can calculate by using the formula. What is the formula for calculating the solubility? Solubility we can calculate by using the formula. Solubility is equal to the mass of solute divided by mass of the solvent into 100. This is a formula. For example, 1.5 gram of solute, 15 gram of solvent. What should be the solubility? What should be the solubility? So solubility is equal to just mass of the solute is equal to 1.5, and here mass of the solvent is equal to 15, that is into, we can write 100, that is equal to, we can write, you can cancel it, you will get, there is to be 10 times, and here it is cancelled, you will get, there is a 10 grams of solute can be dissolved into the given solution. That's a point you should write here. Solubility is nothing but just what is the amount of solute which can dissolve into the solvent. The solubility is to be applied in many fields based on the nature of solute and solvent. Nature of solute and solvent. Effect of temperature. The solubility can affect the temperature can affect the solubility. Pressure can affect the solubility. So what are the effect which on solubility of the temperatures and the pressure that we are going to explain here. The nature of solute and solvent. The first thing, nature of solute and solvent. You see here, nature of solute and solvent. I can take the solute, there is sodium iodide or sodium bromide. Just I can take the solvent, water. water, that it can gives a ionic solutions, that it can give a ionic solution. This is ionic compounds. These are all called ionic compounds. This is nothing but aqueous solutions. So here what is the nature? Solute to be ionic, solvent to be ionic solvent. Now there should be a greater solubility. These two, solute and solvent, can affect the solubility in solutions. Next I am going to we are going to see here the next concept. I take just carbon disulfide, then sulfur. Just it gives a solution. I can take same carbon disulfide and I can take iodine. This also can give solutions. But this is organic solvent. Organic solvent. This solvent can used for covalent compounds. Now this also can give solutions, a clear solutions. This also to be a clear solutions. This is also a clear solution. I can change, for example, I can change carbon disulfide is treated with a NaBr. This is ionic, this is covalent. This is ionic. See that, you see, it is organic, it is inorganic. So there is no solubility. There is no solubility. So changing solvent and changing solute, by changing the solvent and solute, we cannot find such a solubility. This is nothing but this nature of solute and solvent also influences that solubility factors. Also influences the solubility factors. So here, what you want to know about that concept, the solute and solvent to be influences, to be affect that there is a solubility factors and solubility characters of any solvent, any substances, any solute. So basically we want to know about the concept. Here we are changing the solute and solvent. We cannot find such a clear solubility. We cannot get clear solutions. This is the first factor. Next we are going to see the next factor, what is called effect of temperature. Effect of temperature. You see, you take the conical flask, you have to take the Truffat stand, there is a Bunsen burner, you can keep it here, wire couch. Now you have to heat it. You have to heat it. How to heat it. Here I can take sugar or sodium chloride. Now just you can raise the heat. What will happen? The solubility will get increases. The solubility can increases. Why? Because the increasing temperature increases the solubility. Increasing temperature increases the solubility. What we dissolved here is solid. What we dissolved is solid. So here what's the concept you should understand here? Solid in liquids. in liquids. Solid in liquids. Solid to be put into the liquid. Now what happened here? This is a sugar or sodium chloride. Now you are rising temperature. What will happen here? The solubility will get increases. Now the same thing, just I am going to take, that is that the gas in liquid. You please take, not for this, you are to going for this conical flask. You take now, this is to be that example for the understanding purpose. You take now, here it is. Just I take that water here. Now I take the water here. What will happen here? I can take, there is a ice cold conditions. This is water. Just I am passing that oxygen into the ice cold water. Oxygen can dissolve. Oxygen can dissolve into the ice cold water. So the gas to be passed into the liquid, this can dissolve into the liquid. Why? Because the temperature is decreases, the gas to be dissolved. That is the reason the aquatic life, you know that what is aquatic life? In this case of gas in liquid, just you to take this ice cold water. Now you pass the oxygen into this water, the oxygen which can dissolve into the water. That is the reason in aquatic animals are possible even at very cold temperatures. Very cold temperatures. That is the things what you want to know, that gas is dissolves at low temperatures. So what's the point you want right here? The water to be a solvent, and here oxygen to be a solute, and here this to be forms a solutions. These solutions are essential. These solutions are used for the living of the aquatic animals which are living in these very cold regions. So here the point what you want to know here, that solubility is based on the temperature. That is, here the temperature influences the gas which can dissolve into water. So here that things what you want to know, the temperature also to be the factor to influences the solubility. This is a concept you should understand. Okay, right. Next we are going to see in this case of endothermic and exothermic. In endothermic process, and the temperature is directly proportional to solubility. In exothermic process, solubility is inversely proportional to, that is exothermic process, solubility is inversely proportional to temperature. In exothermic and endothermic, what is the meaning here? Endothermic is nothing but we have to give the heat. Heat to boil. The solubility will increases. Temperature decreases the solubility. Increasing temperature in exothermic reactions, increasing temperature decreases the solubility. Why? Because already it is to be in this higher temperature. Again you are giving heat, the solubility will get decreases. Why? Because already it is in higher temperatures, higher temperature. No need to give more temperature. That's all. Should understand the point here. The next concept which we are going to see here, the effect of pressure. The effect of pressure which was explained by this Henry's, and this is otherwise known as Henry's law. Henry's law. The pressure is solubility. We are going to see about this. Solubility is directly proportional to pressure. That means solubility is nothing but if any gas like ammonia or carbon dioxide or oxygen or any other is that formaldehyde gas, HCHO, these all to be called as, we can say, gases. These all gaseous or gases. These gases of ammonia, gases of carbon dioxide, gases of oxygen, gases of formaldehyde, these all get increases its solubility in water due to the increasing of pressure. If you are, for example, you take now, it is in a conical flask or it is in a bottle or it is any apparatus we can take for this experiment. Now I have taken for the simple concept of conical flask. Just it is to be the piston which is to be attached. Now here just I am passing carbon dioxide inside this, the conical flask which is already filled with water. Now what will happen? This carbon dioxide is coming out with a high pressure. This dissolve into water. Now which gets dissolved into water, which produces carbonic acid H2CO3. This carbonic acid is containing more oxygen. This more oxygen is used for the digestion of our food while you are taking that spicy food, that is mutton and chicken. When the time of taking the food mutton and chicken, and we feel uncomfortable, and just we feel there is a problem in our intestine. So in that time, just we can take a soft drinks like beverages, and like we can say it is a soda water, or like we can take there is that aerated waters, or these are all called as soft drinks. These are all called drinks. This is all soda water and this is aerated water, whatever may be the things which containing carbonic acid. Like the market, there we can see the 7-Up and Bovanta and all these all to be in, we can find in marketing. That is 7-Up is that one kind of soft drinks, which containing carbonic acid. While you are drinking this carbonic acid, and which is to be that increases the digestion. When it increases the digestion, it is easily assimilated by our intestine to convert it as an energy, to convert it as an nutrients. This is a point you can understand here from this, what is the use of the soft drinks and how to be soft drinks are prepared and how this carbon dioxide is dissolving into, and here it is in water. Now we come to the point, this is that carbon dioxide and this is a water, these two are called, there is solutions. In these solutions, we could find the solubility, and here the solubility is increases with the increasing pressure. Next we are going to prepare, that is liquid ammonia. This is called liquid ammonia. This liquid ammonia is nothing but, there is also the ammonia gas which is to be passed into this water which is contained in a vessel with a high pressure, which we are passing that ammonia gas into this water, and which is that ammonia is dissolving into the water. Ammonia is dissolving into water, which produces liquid ammonia solution. This liquid ammonia solution is used in this manufacturing of fertilizers like urea and household ammonias, which are used in our, there is a cleaning purpose that you know. Next we are going to see how this formaldehyde is dissolved into water. You know that. Now this is that formaldehyde, the formula for the formaldehyde, CH2O, is also to be in gaseous form or gaseous state. Now this gaseous state of this formaldehyde, that is a gas of formaldehyde, which we can pass into these running tubes. Now there is a piston which is supported to give this high pressure. The high pressure of formaldehyde, that is CHO. You can write it as in this form or you can write CH2O. Both are same. Now these all get dissolved. That is 37% of water to be containing in this that is to be 37% of aqueous state of this formaldehyde is known as formalin. The formalin is used in this preservative of the animals, especially in biological specimens, which are to be heart or kidney. All these animals, it's to be stored in lab, that is in zoology lab. We can see that it is to be present inside this formalin, which will be is for long, we can keep it. That is why we can say the formalin is nothing but it is a preservative for animals, and also just it is used as in a disinfectant in a house and somewhere, and also it is used as a antiseptic, and this is the medicines which we are using, and for that our medicinal chemistry. So this all to be the concept which is based on the solubility of that all gases by using pressure. If you are increasing pressure, the solubility of the gases will get increases. It is very important mechanism which we are using in scientific field of the manufacturing of liquid ammonia for the fertilizers and manufacturing of this formaldehyde by using this disinfectant, antiseptic, and also the formalin, and also we can use in this manufacturing of these soft drinks. This is a very important mechanism which we are using in these industries, and this is the concept. And just you want to understand from this what is the effect of pressure and what is the effect of temperature and effect of solvent and solute which we are taking for the solutions, which is we have discussed already. So next, just you want to know about that entire solution lesson, and just what is concentrated solution, what is diluted solution, and what is the types of solutions, solid solutions, liquid solutions, gaseous solutions, and here it is saturated solution, unsaturated solution, supersaturated solutions. These are all very important for this lesson. And here the next things what is present in this lesson, just we are going to see in the next session. And before just we are going to this next session, just I want you some to be the solutions, chemicals, how we can predict and identify diluted solutions and concentrated solutions in simple example. So next we are going to understand about the point of what is dilute and what is concentrated and what is homogeneous and what is heterogeneous. These all solutions, how we can predict and identify by experimentally. Just it is not that experiment, it is a simple observations, how you are understanding the point. You see, first of all, I am going to give what is called true solutions. You see here we can get a clear solutions is called true solutions. You see, I have taken, there is a salt of sodium chloride or zinc chloride or zinc sulfate or anything, just I can pour it. Now I can pour the water into this solution immediately, just I will get the clear solution. You see here, there it is at a clear solutions. This is the clear solution is called this dissolved quantities of the salt which is inside. We cannot predict, and here it is that we cannot predict what is suspended inside this solution is called homogeneous solutions, is called homogeneous. There can see that clear solutions, and we could find there is that uniformity, that all the solute which are present inside the solutions to be uniformly distributed. This is called homogeneous nature. This is called true solutions. You please understand. Clear solution is called true solutions. You see, we could find the very clear solutions. This is nothing but we can say true solutions. Next we are going to see here that what is that heterogeneous, that which containing turbid, which containing not getting a clear solutions is called there is heterogeneous in nature. In these heterogeneous solutions, I take there is to be that carbonate or sulfide, any salts, any kinds of carbonate and sulfide which is not dissolving into water. And now you take this as the same water, just I can pour into this solution. There we can't find that to be a clear solutions. You see here, there we can get a white color. There is not having this clear solubility. In these cases, we can't find such a clear solubility. We can't find such a clear solubility, but here we can find the clear solubility. In these cases, is called heterogeneous in nature, heterogeneous solution. And here it is called heterogeneous solutions. And here what are the solute particle inside that we can see with our naked eye? This is called heterogeneous solutions, heterogeneous solution, and it is homogeneous solutions. Next we are going to see about what is concentrated solution and dilute solutions. You see, for example, the concentrated solutions are nothing but the more amount of solute which is to be present in the solutions. You see, I can take, there is a more amount of, now I can take this solute, this is solute, the inorganic solvent is called solute. I take this solute here, this can dissolve into water. You see here, there is that we could find a clear solubilities. We could find the clear solubility. You see, we could find the clear solubility. And here, this is that the yellow color to be present in this conical flask is to be very light yellow. You see here, very light yellow color we can see. This is called dilute solutions. If supposed be, I may add more solute into the solution, what will happen? More solute into the solvent, that is in solutions. The color will get changed. The color will get changed. And here that the color intensity will get increases. The intensity of the color is increases by increasing that amount of solute into the solvent. Now this is called, we can say, concentrated solutions. This is called, we can say, concentrated solution. This is a simple concept, but it is you learnt in your lower classes. Even though just you please understand about what is called there is to be the concentrated solutions. Concentrated solutions. This is the point you should understand. Now you can go for the simple concept, how to predict the solutions. You see here, I can take copper sulfate. I can take copper sulfate. What will happen here? You see this. I can take a copper sulfate. You see the copper sulfate, the color of copper sulfate. You know that blue color solutions. You see here, it is the blue color solutions. Blue color solutions. You could find this is that blue colored solutions. Blue color solutions. The thickness of this and the intensity of the blue color is very minimum. It is called, we can say, diluted solutions. That intensity of blue color will get increases by adding the solute into the solvent. Solute into the solvent. The color intensity is increases. The color intensity is increases, the taste is increases, everything increases, which is called, we say, concentrated solutions. More solute to be added is called concentrated solutions, and less solute to be added is dilute solutions. This is because that the concept which you want to be understand the entire lesson, what is the types of solutions. These all types of solutions which is based on that the solute and solvent which is present in the solutions. So you have to understand this point, what we are going to study it in this lesson, and accordingly just you please have to understand the point. You can learn more point from the solution lesson. It is not only for that experimental purpose, it is also used in industry purpose also. It is very important lesson, and you have to apply these all applications and the usages in your life. You will get more idea about the solutions, right? Thank you, and just we will meet in next session.